You've probably seen all those insane AI images all over your feed. Things from like the Studio Ghibli scenes, Pixar style characters, or even viral concept art. Well, now you can officially do all of this inside of Alphana. There's no more bouncing between tools or fiddling with prompts in ChatGPT because now it's all built in. And so I'm going to show you the exact workflow that many creators are using to be able to generate viral, jaw-dropping visuals in seconds without being a designer. Whether you need YouTube thumbnails, Instagram carousels, blog visuals, or ad creatives, this makes it fast, easy, and way more fun. I'm going to show you what's possible in just a few clicks. What are we going to dive into? I'm going to show you first off just several examples. I think that's going to be the best bet. So for those of you that are new and joining us, if you use Alphana, inside of Alphana, you could take any video or audio and we'll turn that into over 50 pieces of content. And today what we're doing is we are going to take a video, and for that video, we are going to generate YouTube thumbnails, blog header images, and even carousel posts. So if I see in here, what I did was I grabbed the video. Okay, this video, 7 principles for creating unstoppable SaaS product demos that convert. Okay, and now we already transcribed this. So we've got now the entire transcript beautifully laid out inside of Alphana. And if I scroll down, check out these new YouTube thumbnails that were generated automatically inside of Alphana as soon as we added this video inside. What's great with this is that this is using the Studio Ghibli style, and it's got its own little flair to it. And you'll see that what's great with our visuals is that it automatically comes in with text baked into the images, right? I mean, just imagine so many other AI tools today just cannot handle the ability to be able to have text on images, but now you can actually have full-blown YouTube covers that represent the style and the insights that are coming directly from the video. And so in this video, it's talking about things like transforming your workflow for SaaS and their businesses. It's got a nice visual. I mean, just look at the fidelity of what you can see here. Super high res images. Now, if I look at this, what happens in Alphana is that we automatically generate prompts to create these images, because what we are doing and what the platform is doing right now is automatically analyzing the video. And based on the concepts that we're discussing in the video, it's producing a brand new thumbnail that goes along with it. So I'm going to go ahead and read this example prompt, right? A Studio Ghibli style YouTube thumbnail showcasing a whimsical scene of a user interacting with a magical floating dashboard. The dashboard is glowing softly with data and charts swirling around it, representing the transformation ROI of the product. The user appears amazed, and the setting is a cozy workspace with a warm lighting and soft, earthy tones. Include a hand-lettered text that reads, "Transform your workflow," in a playful storybook style. I mean, look at how incredible that is, right? And so here's the example scene. Now let's just look at a couple examples, right? Here's another one, right? Unstoppable demos. So again, in the video, they talk about not only transforming your workflow, they talk about how to create an unstoppable demo if you're demoing to other customers. So now it gives you a nice scene with the computer, unstoppable demos up there. Here's another one, right? This one's experience the change, right? So people see this, they're going to be curious. They're going to be like, experience what change, right? They see a monitor, it says AI, you got graphics and charts shooting up. And so this is something that potentially could be used for a thumbnail. Last but not least, here's the fourth option from this gallery, is to create one that says from features to story. I mean, the beauty of this is that we, again, take a video that's already existing or your video content before you publish it, run it in here and come up with concepts for what the YouTube thumbnail should be. People pay hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars to go through creating thumbnails with different designers. And so if you don't have access to that type of capital, you can actually just come in here and just generate them yourself, because we automatically put together what these prompts should look like. So this is one example. Let's see what some other examples that can come out of this, right? Another one that we have here are, for example, creating carousel posts. So let's say you wanted to post a carousel on Instagram or on LinkedIn, and you needed a couple slides so you can have a couple images that represent the content that you're going to talk about. You can actually generate those in here as well. So if I pull these up, I'm going to pull this up here for you. Here's the first slide of a carousel, right? Master the art of unstoppable product demos. And it gives you the person checking it out, looking at a demo. The second one's look 10x product. So in here it's talking about a serene forest scene where a founder is interacting with an ethereal, glowing next product orb. The orb symbolizes a product's unique value and differentiation, surrounded by sparkles and light trails. So This kind of gives you an idea. Second slide inside of a carousel. Here's a third one representing, right? This one's depicting a bustling cityscape evolving into a futuristic, harmonious SaaS ecosystem, right? So you kind of see the one scene here on the left evolving to the right, and you've got somebody looking from one to the other, right? She's evolving from going from outdated spreadsheets into something completely automated and AI powered, right? And then last but not least, right, a call to action. Download the free guide now, your SaaS growth guide, as an example. Why is this important, right? One of the things you want to do, especially like LinkedIn or Instagram or any platforms that support carousels, right? When you have several images that rotate that go along with the story of the post of the content that you have. So you would draft, let's say, a LinkedIn post or an Instagram post. You'd write down all the content and the insights. And then you have these images that visually go along with what insights you're talking about inside of that post. It just makes it more engaging for someone to have something to interact with. And guess what? The algorithms love when people are actually navigating through different images or watching video or spending more time on your content, right? Especially if they're enjoying it and then they hit the like button or they drop a comment that can boost your content online in order to have that show to more people, right? It adds a little bit of virality to it. And so the beauty of what you could do today is grab any video from your library, a podcast you shot, a webinar you created, or any one of these episodes, drop it in here and we can immediately create content automatically so you can post to all these different platforms. Right? I want to show you a couple more examples of some beautiful images you can create. So I got another video here. This is a content creator. It was just a YouTube short. Her video is all about how to go viral, and it's the brutally honest edition, okay? In this video, it talks about going viral. And so if it's talking about going viral, this came out with like YouTube comic book style type thumbnails, right? Now, again, everyone can adapt to their own style, but in this case, we have one already made that's for comic book style. I mean, look at the different versions that we've got here, right? So if I come in here, all right, perfect. Be authentic, go viral, put the full effort in, right? It looks like a fun comic book style image that you can use for a YouTube thumbnail. Again, prompts were automatically created. You didn't have to come up in here and put together the prompt. It automatically handles it for you. If I go to another one, it's like how to stand out online, right? Energy is everything. Energy is everything. You got this shouting from the top line, right? Beautiful thumbnail. These are meant to drive people to click once they check out your video, let's say on YouTube, right? Now here's another one. Hook viewers in 5 seconds. This is so key. I mean, this is a key value point that comes out in the video, right? Your first 3 to 5 seconds are super important in any piece of video content that you create, whether it's a long form YouTube piece or it's a short form for Instagram, TikTok, or Reels, or any of these different platforms. The hook is such a key aspect to drive that person in. And so in here, it created and put in here that hook viewers in 5 seconds. So if I was somebody browsing videos on YouTube and I am trying to look up how to go to viral, this is giving me valuable information alone from the thumbnail where you as a person are going to want to click if you're trying to learn on how you can hook your viewers in 5 seconds, right? And over here, it also gives the piece of advice. It's like, be fast and be real. There's actually a core concept that was discussed in the video was, number one, don't just talk slowly and stay laid back or anything like that, right? You want to move things along, right? Don't put people to sleep, and you want to be real, be authentic, be you, right? Most videos fail when they try to become something that they are not. So don't be something that you are not. And this thumbnail helps capture those insights and elements that came from it. And then last but not least, this actually created a PNG with a transparent background that says brutal truths, right? So if you ever wanted to take like this PNG, which could be like a sticker, and overlay this in Canva on top of other content, right? It's so versatile that this allows you to do stuff like this. So this shows you an example with another video. It shows you comic book style, different images. One thing that I want to do with these comic book style is, for example, if you notice, the person in this video was actually a female, right? Now, it didn't have that context because I just generated it automatically as a demo. I want to show you now how potentially we could do the same thing, but instead of having a male figure, we can have a female figure. And you could change this to be anything you want. If you wanted to say, hey, I actually don't want it to be a person. I want it to be a dog or a cat or a koala shouting, right? You could do that here too. And you know what? Let's do that, right? So I'm going to come in here and let's read the prompt that was used to generate these different images, okay? All of these prompts are already saved inside of Alphana so you can use them. So in this case, we have something a little bit more generic, which is create a vivid comic style YouTube thumbnail that captures the main idea and emotion in the transcript. Use heavy outlines, half-tone dots, and punchy headline in bold text. If the user's custom instructions list brand colors, make them the dominant palette. Otherwise, choose bright contrasting colors that fit the pop art style. Keep composition simple and attention grabbing. Beautiful. So that's what it did here. But what we do on the back end is actually from this prompt, we actually generate multiple prompts that go along with the insights from the video, right? That's why in here we say it captures the main idea and emotion from the transcript. So what I'm going to say here is for the main character, instead, sorry, you can't read this. All right. Instead of using a person, please use a, I don't know, what do we want to see? A koala? That would be a cool example that we can try out. Please use a koala. All right, let's give this a shot. We got a couple good settings that we can use. So number one, I'm going to use high quality. That's already set. Number two, we're going to use landscape. So 15 by 36 by 1024. You have options, right? You could go square, you could go vertical. But again, if you're doing YouTube thumbnail style, make sure you click the landscape style. And the number of images put in here. Beautiful. This is the other thing that's super important, is that you can actually generate up to 4 images at a time, right? If you use another tool, let's say ChatGPT, you're just going to be able to go one at a time and iterate very slowly. We don't want that, right? At Alphana, what we really try to do is automate the workflow and save you a ton of time. And so the more time that we could save you and the more content we can help you create, like that is where our value prop comes in. So I'm going to go ahead and hit generate. Now, you'll notice that I started generating this within the same card. Don't worry, you're not going to lose the images that were there. We're going to add the images on top of the other images that you already had. So I'm going to let that run. Okay. Now, images could take anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes at the most. I've seen a lot of them happen under 60 seconds, but let's just let that run for about 1 to 2 minutes. Yeah. So while this is running, I think it's just kind of good to think about the different types of images you can create. So if, here we go. Yeah, so you can always think about the different images you want to create. Right now, this just loaded the images for the comic style that we talked about. It looks like it didn't pay attention to my prompt in this case. Not the best demo for this purpose, but I know why. This is just going to be prompt engineering work. But you'll see here that now we added 4 more images to the comic book style, right? So number 1 was how to go viral, secrets to social media fame, be authentic, go viral, top tips for viral success. So let me see why. Here we go. The background includes. Yeah, so you could tell that all these prompts did not include the koala. So we are going to tweak this for the main character instead of using, make sure to include this note in the final prompt for each image about the koala. Beautiful. So sometimes we just got to, just like you tell a child and you got to repeat yourself. So we're going to repeat ourselves in here. Just to make sure that we get it. But, there's nothing that we can't do without prompt engineering. So I'll let that run as well. Meanwhile, we got a question finally on a call. Just curious, which software are you using for the webinar with yourself? To the right in a nice box. This right here is using Riverside, allows us to stream to different platforms. We stream over to YouTube, LinkedIn, and anybody can join directly on here as well. Awesome. So I'm going to let this one run. I'll show you another example of what we did earlier. So in this case, again, we did a couple more YouTube thumbnails. I'm really just trying to show you several different styles, right? Because the most important thing is that, number one, we have these styles, they're saved inside of Alphana, so you don't need to know prompts. But number two, if you want to use and come in and customize it yourself, just know that you can customize it to be almost anything you want, right? Here's another example, shows you different styles. This one's got like, more pastel, like purple colors, very soft palette. And this gives you kind of a couple options, right? So I'm going to let this one out. Let's see, did this one work? There we go. Look at that. All right. So if you guys saw what we did earlier, I had a prompt. I told it to use a koala instead of a person. And it didn't follow my directions, right? You saw that here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I had to edit the prompt one more time, just be very specific, make sure you use a koala, and that's okay. And now it worked. And so now we've got 4 awesome styles with koalas in it. This is not cropped, it's just in our viewer. So I'll pull this up here so you guys could see. In our viewer, sometimes it cuts the image. Don't worry, most of the time it doesn't get cropped, but if it does, again, we could regenerate. Here's another example. Energy and passion equals viral. All right, we got a cute koala in there. Here's another one, right? Put your full passion in. No one wants boring. Put your wants boring, right? There you go. And last but not least, hook them in 5 seconds, right? If you guys remember the other thumbnail we had that said hook them in 5 seconds, now you've got a different style with a koala, right? And so here's one, and here's the one that was with the person, so you guys could see the difference between the two images. Questions. I'm getting ready to run YouTube ads, so this is good timing. Awesome. Definitely, I hope you could take advantage of this. Create some images. You know, I really focused today on thumbnails, and we've got a couple, let me see if I have it here, blog header images. Okay, let's close this one out. I think we have some here. Okay, and carousels, here we go. So here's another example for carousels. I know earlier I showed you, but we have a different type of carousel post you can create. This is another video. This is actually Superhuman AI. We pulled in, we love Superhuman. We use their inbox here at Alphana. And so they created a product launch video talking about their new release. And we decided to try to create a carousel post off of their content. And so in this case, what it did is it created an illustration style carousel post. And so again, here's a series of 4 images that could be used. So the first one's like, what if you could be the most productive version of yourself? And it shows you an example of what that looks like. And then Superhuman AI helps you stay ahead by organizing and streamlining your inbox. So boom, it talked about the problem. Here's talking about the solution. It features one of the features that came out inside of the video called auto labels, and put that in here. And then last but not least, with automated workflows, Superhuman AI works for you even when you're away. I don't know if you guys realize, but why this is also really cool. Number one, this could be a carousel that you post, again, like on LinkedIn, right? You're trying to get more business. You could put this in here and then put an awesome LinkedIn post that goes along with it, which you could generate here in Alphana. But number two, like this one alone could be an ad. So if you wanted to run an ad on, let's say, on LinkedIn or on Instagram or anything like that, you could literally grab this image here and put a link on it and use that as an ad to broadcast to your network as well, or on the ad networks. It could be used on LinkedIn. It could be used on Facebook, Google Ad Display Network. That's what makes this really powerful, is that now from these videos, you can extract some of these insights or key takeaways and generate the content you need, from carousels to ads to YouTube headers and so many other pieces of content. All right, question. Are these webinars recorded? Where can I watch them within the community? Yes, these are recorded. What we do is we put together a replay, usually within a few days after we record. We just make a couple quick edits and we publish that on YouTube. So give it a couple days, by Friday or Monday, and this will be live, and we'll drop a YouTube link inside of the community. Do you have a scheduling software for social media posting that you recommend, such as Metricool versus Hootsuite? Great question. The one that I recommend that I've used the most has been Buffer. I've used them for a long time. I've used Hootsuite way back in the day as well, but I haven't seen that one recently. I'm also hearing from people, there's another one called Later. You know, those are the ones that I would recommend for now for you guys to take a look and take advantage of if you need something to help with scheduling. So that kind of shows carousels. Let me know again if you guys have other types of content you want to create. Here's another one, right? Think blog header images. And there's different ways to go about this, okay? So one of the ones that we produce for blog header images were like nice gradients or colors or something like that. Because sometimes on like WordPress or on different blog tools and templates, you might already have text that's going to be overlaid on top of an image. And so you don't want the images to have text on it. So in this example, it has no text. It just shows you different color gradients that automatically generated so that you can use as like a hero banner or a thumbnail image for a blog post, right? And so here's 4 examples that you can do. If I scroll down, you could do some with gradients, but maybe with some text in it, but very subtle, not as popping. And so here's a couple more examples. This one tried to bake in never drop the ball, but faded into the background of the visual, right? Here's another one that's like stay ahead always. And again, you can use this for a blog header. Here's another one called effortless workflows. Again, I just have to remind everyone, everything that you see here, these images weren't just made up right? Because of some random thing. It always goes along with the content. So if your video is about creating content, then the content here is going to be about that. In this case, Superhuman was talking about how you had effortless workflows and how you could stay ahead by utilizing their tool, right? But again, if you're in finance and you're talking, or a mortgage broker or a real estate agent, and you're talking about selling a home or how to sell your home, then guess what? These header images are going to be about that as well, right? So these are just kind of cool creative ways of what you could do. And if I kept going, I mean, just look at the variety. Like these are more thumbnails you can use, right? And it gives you a couple examples. AI works while you rest. And boom, you've got an AI robot while you're sleeping. Maybe for some people it's kind of creepy. You got a robot watching you while they're, but in other ways, it kind of shows you what it's doing, right? Or number two, supercharge your inbox. Boom. Inbox revolution starts here, and never drop the ball again. I mean, this alone, again, could be an ad, right? Never drop the ball again. Awesome new email software from Superhuman, whatever it is, right? So the opportunities I think here are endless, and I really, really recommend everyone to take advantage of everything that you see. Let's see if we've got any more. All right, I've got this video. I wanted to show you just a couple more examples. Blog header images. We took this video and we generated, look at this, right? Completely different style. It's using kind of like a paper cut collage style to piece together and create a thumbnail. So, you know, one of the things I recommend, right? Everybody's brand is different. That's why I'm showing you different styles of images, right? That's one of the things you're going to want to do is kind of figure out what type of brand do you have, or if you already have one, and we can plug in those details so that then all of your images that you create will maintain a consistent style. And so in this case, let's just say your brand uses this kind of like paper cut collage style with these earth tones and colors. Then you can set that up once so that you can have all your images use that. So like in this example, it said create a blog header in a paper cut collage style, illustrating the ideas of doing the things as a path to happiness. Use textured paper shapes to depict various activities like travel, collaboration, and hydration, layered with soft shadows. Incorporate vibrant hues of green and blue, inspired by the earth as seen from space to symbolize vitality and connection, right? Look at that. And so this is awesome because this is what the video is talking about. It's talking about doing the thing. It's actually a very funny video, but it's talking about doing the things to path to happiness. Here's another one. Again, very similar paper cut collage style, health, wellness, and happiness. You got the boat, you got the people, they're connecting with each other. Here's another one, very similar style, exploration and self-care. And so you got that visual here. And then last but not least, sharing happiness through experience. Again, it maintained the paper cut collage style that we wanted, and it created 4 different images automatically to give you options. Or again, you can leverage these as creatives. You can use them for ads. You can use them for so many different assets, right? All right. You know, the last one, this is kind of a pro tip, but one of the things you could do is you could actually create transparent PNG images. I think I showed you one example earlier, but if you look here, like this is flat vectors that you can create. And so in this case, it created this as a flat vector. So what's cool is that it's got a transparent background. So you could take this and overlay it on top of any image that you want if you're using like Canva or another software. Here's another one that says stay hydrated. Again, because the background is transparent, it's using our dark color. This would obviously go on top of a light background, right? It would look a lot better. Here's another one called Find Your Happiness, and then Women's Health and Happiness. So if you look at these styles, they could almost act as stickers, right? Imagine using these stickers on top of other videos or other pieces of content as well, right? They could be leveraged. Would you use this? Do you need to create images or any assets for your business, for your company or anything like that? What's the number one use case you have in mind so far based on what I'm showing you today? Keeping the branding. So I'm going to show you guys something too with keeping the branding, especially if you like that. There's kind of 2 ways to do that. Number one, when you're creating let's just say you've got a project, you can go into your custom instructions. And I tell this to everyone when you're onboarding onto Alphana. So what's cool with Alphana is that you could actually set those instructions once. So over here, I have different things as an example of like how I want the content to be written, right? Because in Alphana, you could generate text, LinkedIn posts, summaries, blog posts, newsletters. There's so much content you can create. And so I tell it to write at a 6th grade reading level, right? Don't give me the PhD level writing. Nobody reads that, right? And so when you're going for accessibility, you want to dumb down the content sometimes. Not for every type of writing, but for some content when posting publicly. So I tell it to use everyday language. It doesn't know how to spell Alphana, so I teach it. I say, please spell Alphana like this with PH. I tell it not to use words like delve or harnessing, unlock, like jargon and stuff like that. I add my social media URLs so that if any piece of content needs to refer to my social media, I put that in here. So one of the things that I can say in here is say our branding colors are red, or like a reddish, pinkish, orangish gradient tone, similar to the Instagram color palette. Not intentional, but I think it's the closest one that I could tell the AI to try to recognize in terms of colors. I'm going to try this live with you. I hope it works. It should, but I just want to make sure we give this a shot. So you can come in here and put your branding colors. You could actually put color codes. So I didn't do that in here. I would, but you could do, like, if you know the color code, and you can go back and forth either in Canva or ChatGPT and try to figure it out. You could put, like, I don't know, right? That's like black, if I'm not mistaken, if you want to put that in there. So if you know your exact color codes and tones, go ahead and put that in here. By the way, pro tip, if you already have branding assets with the designs and colors, pop that into ChatGPT, ask it to put together what your color code style guide is, and it'll give it back to you in text form. Copy that and drop it right here into Alphana. That's how I would recommend to try to get your color palette and your style for images, okay? Perfect. I'm going to hit save, all right? Once that hits save, it's going to save. Boom, my instructions are updated. Awesome. And what we're going to try to do is we're going to just try to, again, I'm going to go here to create an image. So just make sure I don't rush everybody here. I've got this video. I've already created a project. I've already transcribed it. I want to add content and create more content from Alphana, okay? When you click on add card, top left, okay, we have an entire library of content that you can create, from LinkedIn posts, Twitter threads, even short form scripts, viral hooks. We can extract questions, summaries. We could generate multiple choice quizzes. So what's great with Alphana is that we give you a library of over 120 more pieces of content you can create, and we're always adding them. And they're like Lego blocks. So you're almost creating your own workflow, right? And so in this case, what I'm going to do is I want to generate some AI images. So I'm going to click AI images right here. Now, this prompt, it already has a prompt in here, but I'm going to go ahead and just change that with this one that I copied and pasted. I'm telling it to illustrate a Studio Ghibli style YouTube thumbnail reflecting the main message of the transcript, soft shading, whimsical details, and warm color tones or brand colors if given. And keep clear, layout clear, and story-like with any text hand lettered. What I'm going to change here is take out warm color tones, and I'll probably edit this in the main one. And my brand colors in the custom instructions. So I wanted to use those brand colors, and I'm going to go ahead and select 4 images. I want to see 4 at a time. And I'm going to click high. I'm going to do the widescreen landscape layout and hit generate. So if everything works well, this should be able to keep consistency and try to layer in some of the colors that were pulled from my custom instructions. The second way that I would recommend too, for example, is once you create your workflow of how you like your images, just like here in this one, I have Studio Ghibli style, you could put that in the prompt. So you would actually put down here, here's my branding style guide, right? And then paste what those colors and the color schemes are so that it uses that color palette. I think the second thing, while this is generating, right, we've got these images generating up here. I do want you to show you an example of what this prompt looks like. Again, we do a lot of prompting in here to save you a ton of time and a headache that people usually go through when figuring it out. You'll notice here for the carousel post, I want to read it to you because this is so important. We're telling it, based on this video transcript or text context, I want you to generate a cohesive Instagram carousel, okay? And we tell it, slide 1, eye-catching hook with space for a headline. Perfect. Slides 2 through 1, that just means like, if I selected 4, 3, or 2, it knows how many pieces of content are going to be there. We're telling it one clear visual per key takeaway. And then next to last slide, an image that shows the main payoff or the transformation. And then the final slide is space for a bold call to action. So we're very clear on what we want on these slides. And at the end, we tell it, make sure that the image is using a Studio Ghibli visual style and a color palette for all slides, because we want all the slides to have kind of a similar color palette scheme, right? So we're very detailed on how that looks like. Now the image is created, and let's take a look at what it did. Now, this is leveraging some of the colors that we have in our branding guide. But if you notice, I said like a pinkish and purplish tones and colors. And again, it tried to pull out some of those colors, and it brought it in here. I think this is the only one that's using that like neon blue. I don't know where it pulled that from, but these three seem to pull some of those colors. Now, again, I would probably try to grab my actual colors with the color codes to store that, so that this ends up becoming even more accurate towards the shade of colors that I want for our brand. And so in this case, it shows it, right? A bustling office transitioning into a serene AI-powered workflow. Boom, okay? Over here, it's interacting with an enchanting dashboard. Here's another one, software automating tasks. And then last but not least, a vibrant SaaS dashboard. Here it is. Use Alphana's brand gradient for the dashboard highlights, hand letter the title. Perfect. So you could see that even in this title, like it's saying to use the Alphana brand gradient from the dashboard highlights, hand letter title, and it put that up here. So this just kind of gives you an example of how it's trying to leverage. But again, if you type this into the prompt itself of what your colors are and put actual colors, you'll even get more consistency out of all the content that's coming out. All right, let's look at more questions. Can you upload your own logo and colors and fonts? Never mind, you're entering that now. Sorry, I'm just seeing your messages. So colors and brands, you can. Right now, we don't support logo. It's something that we are working on. So right now, we don't have the ability to upload an image. We do have different AI models for images. So if you guys want to experiment, it just won't work as well as this one. I believe DALL-E 2, you could upload a reference image from your computer, okay? And it'll use that more for inspiration, but it won't actually leverage the logo. So you could experiment and see the quality of what you'll get with DALL-E 2, DALL-E 3. But I'll tell you right now, GPT Gen, the main one that's default in our system, this will automatically be, number one, the most highest quality image generation. And number two, it's the only one that works really well with text. And so if I just recommend everybody to stick to it. We will be rolling out in the coming weeks the ability for you to actually upload a reference image or multiple images. And in that case, you'd be able to upload your logo to use it. Again, this is AI, so it's going to get as close as we can, but we're working on perfecting it to be perfect. So just look out for that update. That way we can add logos in there. Let's see. Can it create a logo? I do my own logo and wanted to ask anyway. So we could create a logo, but it's all on prompt engineering. And that's actually a pretty cool idea. Alphana, can you create logos? Okay, that's not what it's made for, but you can, because with image generation, we can create a design for a logo or brand depending on the company. So what I say is that we could probably try to do this from scratch, right? There's two ways to do it. One is, let's just say you had a video talking about a company and you want to create a logo for that company. Okay, I can come in here and write a prompt to say, hey, I want you to create a logo based on this company, right? So I'm going to come in here, AI images, and I'm going to set high. I'm going to do square for the logo and maybe create 4 variations. All right. And in here, I'm going to say generate a catchy logo for the, does anybody want to put a name for the business? I think his business in this video, just to not confuse it, logo for the company called Unstoppable. I have to learn how to spell, guys. All right, let's see. Unstoppable. Use the insights from the video transcript to inspire what the logo should look like. So what I'm doing right now is I'm asking it to generate a logo for me. And because the video is talking about their company and the insights they do, I want this logo to be inspired by that video, right? And so that's what it's doing in this case, right? We're going to ask it there. Use a nice color scheme and palette and what this logo would look like as a brand. I'll work on some better prompts and we'll roll it out inside of Alphana with different styles of logos if this is something that people would want. But I can go ahead and hit generate just to see what this looks like. And we'll experiment together, right? And see what this looks like with a logo. All right, let's see what we've got. Everything sounds good and useful. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. Hi, Sebastian. What amazing this cut collage style. I like it. Awesome. I'm so glad you like it. Yeah, it's a great style. We're going to save those cards, those prompts inside of Alphana. So once I save that in there, you'll just be able to come in here to add card and you'll just be able to search in here for collage. I don't think I published it yet. Not yet. While this is loading, yeah, I'll find it. But yeah, you're going to have access to it in here. You'll be able to use that style for some of your own work. That'll be phenomenal. Am I able to add a short video into your Facebook ad or any of these ideas? If you can add a short video into your Facebook ad, in here you can't add the video onto the ad image, but you could create the image and then add that in a video, if that makes sense. But go ahead and ask if you've, okay. Yeah, so you can't add the video inside of the image in this case, right? You could describe and say, hey, I want you to feature pretend to feature a video about this topic inside of this ad, right? But it won't be the actual video. All right, check this out, guys. Again, because of our background, it's normally this purple color. You have to ignore it because in this case, it generated it, but it created 4 different logos from scratch, okay? Obviously, it's going to look a lot better on a white background so you could see it clean. But here's one logo called Unstoppable, right? Let's see if I could hack this, by the way. Did that work? It didn't work. So Unstoppable. The second one, here's another logo with the spiral, right? Third one, here's another one. Unstoppable. It's got like, I don't know what that is, like a cutout type of thing. And then last but not least, this one. I like this one. I like the colors. It's pretty cool. But they gave you a couple good options, right? And let's just read why did they come up with this logo, right? The prompt: design a sleek and modern logo for Unstoppable centered around the idea of automation and transformation. Incorporate abstract shapes like interconnected nodes or waves to represent seamless integration and flow. Use a vibrant gradient palette of purples and blues to evoke creativity and trust. The logo should be versatile, working well on digital platforms and reflecting a forward-thinking brand identity. Like, look at that, guys, right? Just imagine you want to create a logo. You want to leverage the insights from a video. I mean, by the way, like the video here was like a YouTube video, but let's just pretend like you're thinking about your company or a product or something like that. You open up your iPhone or your phone and you start recording a voice note, okay? You could record a voice note and feed it all the information like this is the style of what I want. I'm creating a company that does XYZ. I want my brand to be about XYZ. You can come into Alphana, upload that audio just from your phone, and then create logos out of that, right? Out of that concept. And so it kind of helps you to be able to use it to brainstorm to generate different things. So this was a fun way to be able to use it. To take it a step further, I'm going to grab this logo. And what I'm going to do is add another card with AI images. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to ask it to design a logo. And I'm going to say, place the logo on a ad promoting this business using similar gradient color tones, right? So that's going to be my parameter, and then you can hit generate, right? So essentially what I did was I took the prompt for this logo. I'm not going to get the exact logo, but knowing that it created the swirls, and if that's like your favorite one, I could have it generate another one and ask it to create an ad. I can ask it to put it on a YouTube thumbnail. Again, it's not going to be the final logo, but these are just ways to play around with the creative to see what that looks like. Let me see more questions on here. In the dropdown, using GPT, so does that mean it's better than DALL-E to use? Yes. Like I mentioned earlier on the images, The new GPT Gen is much better than DALL-E 3 in a lot of ways. I would just recommend, and by its default, so you don't have to select it. You would only select it if you manually decided to switch to DALL-E 3. But Gen 3 is going to get much higher resolution outputs, and it's also going to give you the ability to be able to add text on images, which is super important to do things like what you saw here. Awesome. So we're going to let that run, just so you guys have an example. You know, what I say is I say give it a shot. Try to see what types of images you need to create, from social posts to header images to ads. You could do fun things like creating posters or anything like that. All right, look, it didn't follow the exact direction, but I mean, look at what it did here, right? Unstoppable. It all now is similar to what we had here for Unstoppable, but now it gave me more variations that are a little bit different, right? So very cool here to get inspiration for ideas. Now, I think one of the things, like, do you need a video to use the image generator? Okay. You do not need a video. And I think that part is extremely important for everyone to understand. So I'm going to show you a workflow. If you're like, hey, I just need to come into Alphana and I want to generate a couple variations of images. How do I do that? Awesome. I'm going to come in here and click create. All right. Now, when I click on create, instead of uploading a video, you need to just give the AI context about what it is that you want to create. And so let's just say we're trying to create a YouTube thumbnail. So I'm going to say create a YouTube thumbnail image about, let's pick a topic or something like that, like how to go viral online. The image should include a text hook. This text hook. And I'm just going to call it like fix your intros. Make sure to have a different styles and a shocked person in the thumbnail. Okay. I'm just making up. This isn't particularly a prompt only, but it is going to use it as context, right? The context is that you're looking for a YouTube thumbnail image about how to go viral online. The image should include this hook, this text hook, which is the text that appears on the thumbnail. I call it the text hook because it's the image that people see that's going to draw people to click on that YouTube video if you publish this on YouTube. And we're saying here, make sure to have different styles and a shocked person in the thumbnail. Perfect. Now, inside of the create editor, what I want to do is create an image. So I'm going to click here and filter. I just want to see images. And again, by later today, you're going to have a whole library of styles that you're going to see. But for now, you could just select AI images, and that will automatically take care of, like, if I expand this, you'll see that it has the prompt of what the image is going to create, which is just kind of taking inspiration from your post. And then we're going to hit next, and you're going to hit generate one more time. So this allows you to bypass having to upload a video or audio in order to generate images, okay? Just plug in, give it some information, some insights of what it is that you want. Select one of the AI images cards, right? And you'll see others later, like YouTube thumbnails and other pieces of content, and then hit generate. And we just give it a minute or so and it'll generate just like it did with the others. So I'll let that run for just a minute. This is one of the last things that we're showing. So if you've got any last minute ideas or questions or anything else you'd love to see or feedback, please, I want you to go ahead, drop that into the chat. So far, you guys have been adding some great ones. All of you have been providing good feedback, insights, everything. All right, still generating, just be hopefully a moment. And again, for any of you that are new here, just remember, what you could do in here is not just images. You could generate clips. You could generate, again, LinkedIn posts, blog posts, newsletters, LinkedIn captions, viral hooks. The opportunities are endless. And here we go. All right. So it created an image. In this case, it created one. But again, you'll be able to do more than that. Oh, I didn't set the size. Okay, that's okay. Once you guys jump in here, this size will be correct. But in this case, it would be landscape view. It says fix your intros. It just got cropped off. So that's how you could generate images. And again, I can click edit here. I'm going to do high quality, widescreen, click 4, and I'll just click generate again. So that created an image. You didn't have to upload a video or an audio. And if you click this little text thing here, this shows you the context that it was using, which is the prompt that I wrote before generating this content, this project, right? So if you're ever curious why it generated that way, this is what you would go back and refer to see what was there. And then of course, we've got the prompt, which I just finished editing so that we can set it up with multiple images. And so we're going to let that generate. Any tutorials on how to move these clips, posts, etc. into IG or LinkedIn? Do I just save each clip to my computer? Sorry if this is super fundamental. I'm very new to this. No, that's a great question. I don't have any tutorials on it yet, but that's actually a great idea. It's some insight that we'll take maybe for like a future episode. And I'll try to put out some tutorials on it. But let's see if I have any in here. So like in this project, we were playing around with images, but if I keep scrolling down, we actually generated things like a description. We created title ideas for the video. We generated a LinkedIn post, right? And then here we've got short clips that were generated. And so the way that I would recommend, especially like with clips, you can come in here, enable captions if you want to. You could change the color to, let's say, a color that matches your style. And what I would say is select either fill, fit, or auto. Auto will automatically reframe speakers. And so if you've got multiple speakers in the video, that's perfect. And then, but I'm going to do fill because there's only one person, so I don't need to worry about that. And vertical, and then I'm going to hit download. So it's a process right now where you find all the content that you want. You could preview what they look like all through in here to make sure that it's the right video before generating it. You can click on download and just give it a few short, depending on how long the video is, you can wait a minute or two. It'll download, and then that's what you use to log into like Instagram or LinkedIn to be able to upload it to those platforms. So that would be the process. Right now, Alphana, it's really meant to like, hey, I don't want to spend hours sifting through a video or other pieces of content. And I don't want to spend hours back and forth with ChatGPT to create all of this, like clips, screenshots, timestamp chapters, landing page copy, creating an FAQ and sales sheet, a blog post. Like all of this would take hours to try to produce if you did it manually. Some people days if they procrastinate, right? And so that's where the benefit of what you're going to have inside of Alphana is that you're going to generate all of this in one shot. It literally, to generate all this content usually takes 2 or 3 minutes at the most. And then from there, you can leverage that to put into other platforms. Am I able to create a set of cards as a template for different projects I'm working on, or is it just best to click on each card every time? That is the benefit. And this is a question that we get often, and I didn't cover it, but let's pretend you created a carousel post with a flat illustration style. I created blog header images with just gradients, and I created another one with text. You could save this entire workflow, everything you see on this sideline with the style images. You come up here to the top right, and I want you to hit save as template, and then you could just call this whatever name. So I'm going to call it cool workflow, right? I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And now every single time you upload a video or a prompt, it's going to generate all of this content by selecting this template. And so my computer today is really slow, probably because we're streaming, but we'll just let that save so you guys can see what that looks like. But that is the most important part, I think, is create all the assets you need, set up the workflows, customize your prompts. Once you're done, save it as a workflow, and you'll be able to reuse that later. Yeah, that's taking a minute. And then here's the images we had earlier. So I know we're off on time, so I want to make sure I respect everyone. I appreciate everyone who jumped on. Let me see if this was, yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so look, thank you everyone for jumping on. I really appreciate your time. This was Alphana. This is our new image generator. It's like having the ChatGPT image generator, but in Alphana, but on steroids. I really appreciate your time here. I've got a ton of more tutorials and YouTube videos on the channel you guys could check out. Again, if you're on YouTube, please hit the like button, comment. The YouTube algorithms really love it when you do that. And that really helps us out. Thank you again. I'm Sebastian Mora, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Alphana, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.